Welcome, and for those that are new here, you've stumbled across Timber Valley Woodworking. Today we're going to be talking about dowel plugs. In a project I've been working on recently, I added them to give a little extra strength to the shelves, and I think they look pretty good too. First thing I'm going to do is pull out my drill and insert a 3/8 bit. I like to put a bit of masking tape on the bit to set the depth. After drilling my holes and doing a little cleanup, I head over to the bench press. There's a few different ways you could go about making the plugs. You could buy a dowel from your local mill or a plug kit, or in my case, I found a piece of scrap walnut from the project I've been working on and used a plug bit to hog them out at the drill press. To get the plugs out, I used a bandsaw to cut the back ends of the plugs off, and I always prepare a little extra just in case. Back over at the workpiece, I set up a piece of parchment paper and put some glue on top of it. I then roll the plugs in the glue and pop them into the holes. That first one I did didn't have quite enough glue, so I pulled it out and added some more. I tried using a small flush cut saw. I didn't like it, so I added some tape and tried the Japanese pole saw. It ended up leaving a few marks that I had to sand out, and that wasn't preferable either. After sanding the area up to 120, I was satisfied with the results, so I moved on for my test area to install the other plugs. And once again, parchment, glue, roll, plug. In an effort to try something new, I got out my chisel and popped the rest off. As I was sanding, I noticed that this turned out to be a bad idea. I ended up having to re-drill them as half-inch plugs and install them all again. And this is where I figured out that my favorite way to remove the waste was to use my hand planer. And somebody else thinks so too. It turned out to be a blessing because the sanding went much easier and the finished look of the half-inch was much nicer than the 3/8 at the end. And for those of you that are wondering, I purposely turned the grain of the dowel away from the grain of the board so that you could see it more prominently. But if your goal is to hide the plug, lining up the grain will give you the best results. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. And if you have any suggestions about videos I should make in the future, don't be afraid to ask. I'm always just a thumbs up away.